Hey guys, hopefully we're all doing well. Prime Collections here. Today I wanted to talk about something interesting in the world of Funko. There was a massive sale that happened recently for a couple of different cars concerning Funko Pops, and I wanted to kind of talk about this. Not necessarily in a negative light, not necessarily in a positive light, just kind of that middle ground and kind of go back and forth on what I give my personal thoughts on this. So let's not hesitate. Let's not wait any longer. Let's get into the world of Funko today. Now, before we get into this article, I want to preface this by saying that this is an article written from a place of negativity. As you'll see in this first passage, immediately the person writing this has a negative connotation when it comes to the world of collecting Funko Pops. So understand that when reading this article that you may already have some negative feelings and know that going into reading this. But this was posted on Kotaku's website. I don't really consider them a reputable site to begin with. I'm not really too big of a fan of them, but they do cover a lot of different things. Funko Pops being one of them recently, with the whole debacle of Funko basically offloading 30 million or 36 million dollars worth of actual stock of stuff that they had that they couldn't sell. This is another story that they decided to cover, and this one basically states that there was a collector who sold $150,000 worth of Funko Pops to somebody for 2 Cadillac Escalades. Now we're going to go into this and kind of look at the story itself and my personal thoughts on this, and then I kind of want to get your guys' personal thoughts and where you guys are standing from. So first of all, the article goes as follows. It says, most Funko Pops are worthless and getting shoveled into landfills right now, but some are extremely rare, going for exorbitant prices in face-to-face meetups. One recent trade gets at just how bizarre the market for certain Funko Pops has gotten, with one collector apparently swapping half a dozen Freddy Venom figures for 2 diesel-powered 2023 Cadillac Escalades, each valued at over $80,000. Now, that little first bit right there, as you can see, that's where the point of negativity comes from. The one thing I really want to get into, I guess, in this part of the article, is the fact that I don't think anybody would have ever suspected that you would see Funko Pops valued at this kind of price, first of all. And I think if you're immediately looking at this hobby from basically a price perspective, you'll never be happy. The world of Funko Pops is a market that is very volatile. I have to be completely honest with you. You can have a pop that is worth $300 one day, and then they do a massive restock, and that pop immediately drops in value. I basically look at this as a thing that can happen in the Funko world. If you go back a few years ago, there was a pop called Battle Deku from My Hero Academia. When it first released, it was going for $350, $400. But because of massive restocks today, the pop's valued at about $20. And there were some people who were trading, or who were basically taking this pop and trading it for grails. And people who have it now are really regretting trading those grails. But that's what I mean when I talk about Funko Pop collecting. If you look at it from a pure value perspective, as terms of actual money, you're never going to be satisfied. If you get into the space for purely, like I said, pure profit, I think that's one of those things that you really have to be careful about. Me personally, the reason I got into Funko Pop collecting is because of the fact of they had different franchises that I enjoyed collecting characters from. My entire collection, you could say, is pretty much comprised of anime with some Godzilla thrown in and some Transformers thrown in. But my main thing that I collect is anime, and actually you could throw in Disney too for my daughter. But those are really the main things that I do basically add to my collection, and I enjoy doing that. Do some of them have high values? Yes, that is the case, but is that always going to be the case? No. And I think that's something that we all have to understand when we are involved in this collecting market when it comes to profit margins and actual value. Continued on in the article, it says Freddy is the bobblehead-like toy lion's mascot, and he frequently appears in different limited crossovers ranging from Grease to Fallout. While there are tons of Marvel Venom Pops overall, Venom Freddy's are some of the rarest, with only 24 ever created as part of a Funko Fun Days exclusive back during San Diego Comic-Con 2019. So the pop in question was that Freddy Venom pop where there was only 24 made, and recently in the last few years it's kind of seen an uptick in price, with that being due to the fact that there is one specific collector in the space who has a big portion of these and is kind of controlling the market on it. With that being said, that's another talking point that I want to, basically address here. This is one of those situations where value is placed by the collectors themselves because he has a good portion of the market. And when you do control that, you control the price of it, which sucks for people who are just, your normal, average, everyday, run-of-the-mill people who don't make thousands of dollars every single day to afford this kind of pop. This pop right now is going for about 20 grand. And if you're a Freddy Venom collector or a Freddy collector, or just in general a Venom collector, you're going to have a hard time acquiring these because they are so high and because the market is that way. And it really truly sucks for everybody. On the flip side of this coin, and this is where this middle ground comes from, where I'm trying to be unbiased and trying to basically cover both sides of the coin, you also have to kind of laud this collector because they basically took the time and effort, the money, all that stuff to basically acquire these pops because they knew that they would have high value, and have basically set themselves up to where they can now cash in on it. Whether or not that's looked upon favorably is up to you, but to me, I have to look at it from that side of this coin and basically say, know what, props to him for basically doing this because he was smart and basically cornered the market on these when he knew that how high they were eventually going to go for, even if it does suck looking at it from a collector perspective. And as it states here, hoarding holy grails like this is largely frowned upon in the Funko community and in collecting hobbies in general, because influencing the supply and demand is one of the most direct ways of artificially inflating pricing. This person managed to corner the market and seemingly drive up prices as a result, because he was the only one setting the prices. Now, essentially what ended up happening is this specific collector traded 6 Freddy Funko Venoms for 2 Cadillac Escalades. They essentially bought them a while ago, waited for the price increase. They run a luxury car service where basically they buy cars and then they resell them for a profit, and basically decided that this was the point to sell them. And this, I guess, raises like this whole thing. Where do you stand on this? This person took their money, decided to buy a good portion of these, specifically focus on these in their collecting, got a huge chunk of them, proceeded to control the market, and then cash in on the fact that the market had been set to a point where they could cash in on it. Now, understand that this happens all the time in collecting, in business, whatever you want to say. And it's constant. Whether you're a fan of it, whether you dislike it, whatever, it does occur. But what are your thoughts on it? Because as much fun as I do collecting Funko Pops, as much fun as I do have doing that, I don't know if I will ever pay this kind of money for a pop. I think that I will add to my collection, and I think if pieces grow in value, that's great. But I don't think I will ever actively seek something like this to try to get it for my collection because the price set out by certain collectors and because of the pop's value. For me, this is why completion in Funko Pop collecting is one of the hardest things to do, because there's always going to be those sought after pieces that if you get involved late in the hobby, you're going to have a hard time collecting. And this is exactly one of those examples of it. I don't have a Dobby from My Hero Academia. The shared sticker goes for about 200. The actual full con sticker goes for about 500. I don't have Super Saiyan Goku from, I want to say it's like 2019 convention, where he's got like the red hair and the red background. I think that one goes for about 200. There are tons of pieces that I would love to have for my collection that go for hundreds of dollars that I don't know if I'll ever have because of the price. If I do decide to do it, it will be one piece that I pick up at a time, and it will be over time when I can afford them. But I don't think we'll ever get to the point where I'm buying a Planet Arlia Vegeta for 5 grand. And that's something we have to understand in this collecting space. If you get into Funko Pop collecting and you are going to be a completionist, you have to be prepared for the fact that there may be some pops that you look at and go, I can't get it. I can't afford it. And this, for Venom collectors or Freddy Funko collectors, is one of those pieces because the market has been set at 20 grand. And it's always one of those things that we're always going to be like, darn. And me, I'm in the same kind of boat because there are pieces I don't have, but that are very, very expensive. So it's just one of those things that you have to just kind of be aware of. And I wanted to talk about this today because this is a very interesting topic. You have a person who has cornered the market on a pop and is basically cashed in for themselves. And it's definitely something I wanted to talk with you guys about here today and bring to light, because I'm trying to look at the positive and negatives of it. And unfortunately, I'm very negative on it, so my opinions may have come out as negative even if I wanted to go into this unbiased. But it's definitely something I want to discuss with you guys here, and would love to hear you guys' opinions on it down in the comments below. But yeah, guys, that's going to kind of do it for me today. This was something I definitely saw and wanted to talk with you guys about because I found it very interesting. I'm actually going to link the full article down below in the description box in case you want to read it for yourself and get a little bit more information on it. If you find out who the collector is, please don't harass them. Please don't, bring them any sort of bad ill will. I just wanted to talk about this, and I did not want to have any heat drawn towards that person. That's why I've tried to avoid talking about who that person is, because I wanted to go from this from a place of unbiased opinion. So thank you so much for sticking around for the entirety of the video. I truly appreciate it. To let you guys know, we got a massive One Piece opening coming sometime this week. I'm just waiting for a few more packages to come in before we get into that. And as always, if you guys wouldn't mind, please liking this video and subscribe to my channel. It truly helps me out tremendously, and I will see you guys later.